All right, so now we're going to talk about mutually exclusive selections. Mutually exclusive selections mean that we can choose one option or the other, not both. And in essence, we're giving users a number of options and we're only allowing them to select one of them. So we can set this up. Let's set up with a basic div with a question. What is your favorite class? We're only going to allow one option here. So again, we can do this in two ways. We can do this with input tags, or we can do it with a select statement. We'll start with the input tags, and in this time, we're going to set up input, and we're going to do type equals radio. So radio buttons are the round buttons that show up as selections often, and it's kind of an understood practice on the web that radio buttons signify mutually exclusive options and checkboxes allow for multiple selections. So we're going to make these radio buttons. We're going to give them each an ID. And so this is going to be math, and a name equals math, and a value equals math. And then we'll put our label out here. And again, we're going to use a label tag to help users with our interact with us. And so we're going to use the ID in there. We write math, and then we put our line break tag, and then another input type equals radio, ID equals English, name equals English, value equals English, and our label for that. And then our final option, input type equals radio, ID equals CS, name, value, and our label. Now, when we set this up, you can see that we've got the radio buttons here now, but they are not made automatically mutually exclusive. The reason for that is because if all radio buttons were automatically mutually exclusive, then any given form could only have one set of radio buttons. But what we want to be able to do is group these radio buttons and say, okay, make this group of them mutually exclusive together. And then if we have another set of them later, we want that group to be mutually exclusive as well. We don't want every individual radio button to be mutually exclusive. So this is the one time where we're going to find that our name attribute and our ID attributes are going to change. And what has to happen is we have to make the name attributes of the buttons that we want to be mutually exclusive the same. So I've got these three radio buttons, and I'm going to make them all say fave as the name. And when I make them all say fave, now they operate as mutually exclusive. You'll notice, though, when I refresh this page that none of them are currently selected. And so unless I find out a way to require this, which is going to require some JavaScript, I'm going to run into a problem in that I can submit this form without having something selected. So typically, when we do set up a set of radio buttons like this, mutually exclusive radio buttons, we do make sure that one of them is selected. And that's the same as it was with the checkbox, where we say checked equals checked. And now when I load this page, math is automatically checked or selected, but I can choose English or CS as I go through, and I can do that. But I can only choose one of them at a time. All right, so let's look at our next option. We'll put a div here with a new question. And this question is going to be, do you like computer science? And this time we're going to use the select statement that we used previously. So we'll set up select, and we'll do ID equals like CS, and name equals like CS. And then we'll put our options in here. So option value equals Y for yes. And then another option value equals N for no. And then one third option where we'll set our value equal to T, and we'll say only on Thursdays. Now, I don't have to do anything else because the select statement is actually originally set up to do mutually exclusive selection. If you remember, when we did multiple selections in select, we had to add another attribute, which was multiple equals multiple, and then set the size. But the select structure is automatically set up to be a dropdown where we can only select one of the options. Whatever's first is always the thing that is selected, but I can then scroll down, but I cannot choose more than one no matter what I do. I can't control click or shift click on any of these things. It just comes off as a click, and I only get one of the elements.